Hey there folks, I'm out here today for today's video. I'm out here on this gorgeous day bathed in sunlight. And my little girl's gonna laugh at that because she thinks that's a dumb thing to say. But that is the purpose of this video, light. Now you know a lot about light so far, but we haven't studied it enough this year. It was actually time to study it in class right now, but oh well, that's the way it goes. First thing, you can see the sunlight on me, isn't that right? And we know that light travels in straight lines. We know that already. So look, I can look up in the sky, I have to squint a bit, and I can see the sunlight up there. The sun is right there and the sunlight is shining directly to me, which means there's a straight line between the light shining from that sun directly to me. So I guess that's it, right? Sunlight shining on me, and that's the light that's out here. Is that correct? Not at all. Absolutely not. Because there are other things out here too that the light is shining on also. Look, right over there's a tree. Tree. Okay, and right over here is a bush. Bush. All right, so what's happening? Well, the sunlight is shining down and it's hitting me, but it's also shining down and it's hitting this tree and that dog. That dog is in the video a lot, and this bush also, which means there is light on me. Oh boy, there's light on me from the sun, but there's also light on me that's coming down, hitting that tree, bouncing off the tree, and bouncing to me. And there's light coming down that's from the sun, hitting that bush, bouncing off that bush, and hitting me also. Now, you might say to yourself, okay, I'm intelligent, how do you know that? And the answer is, I know that because I can see the tree, and I can see the bush when I turn my head. And what I'm seeing when I look at the tree and look at the bush is, of course, the light bouncing off it. I'm not making the light, the sun's making the light, which means it's coming down, bouncing, and hitting me. Okay, what does that mean? Well, that means that the light that's on the front of my jacket right now is being illuminated by the sun, but also by other things. There are bounces happening right now, and the bounces are crazy bounces. I mean, think about this. If you look at this tree over here, and you look at this side of the tree, there's light from this side of the tree shining on this shoulder, and there's light from this side of the tree shining on this shoulder, and there's light from the center of the tree shining on the center of me, and on this side, and on this side. Right? So you can see the light bouncing off that tree is going in all different directions, hitting me in all different places, in my face and on my knees and everywhere. So I brought this piece of paper out. I'm going to show you basically what that means. So what we have outside is we have light traveling in straight lines, but of course the light is diverging to different places. It's coming from the sun in different directions. And then sometimes it's bouncing off something like a tree, and it's heading back toward me. Here I am down here, right? And then it's bouncing off a bush, and it's heading over toward me also, right? Conversely, the light from me is bouncing off in different directions too. Now we have light going all sorts of different directions, left and right and up and down and all over the place. It's a gigantic mess, right? So what we need is something that can make some sense of that mess. Now, luckily, built into my vision, in my eyeballs, I do have something that can make sense of that mess. It's called a lens. You know that. We have lenses in both of our eyes. But what does a lens mean and what really is a lens? Well, I've got one here for you and I want to show it to you. So that's a lens right there. What is it? Well, this lens is made out of glass. The ones in our eyes are actually made out of water, that's right. But anyway, this is a lens made out of ground glass. Now, what does it do? Well, I just showed you that light is traveling in many different directions, right? So light is going this way, and light is going that way, and light is bouncing off different things and going all over the place. It's chaos. It's just a disastrous mess. But if you put a lens in the way of that light, just like that, the lens will do something really special, which is the lens will make sense of it. All the light that is coming directly toward the lens will be captured by that lens, and it will be organized by that lens. The lens will say, okay, just a second. All you light coming at me, I'm going to grab you and I'm going to gather you and I'm going to organize you so you don't bounce all over the place. I'm going to send you across here, and I want you to stick around there. I'm going to send you over here. I want you to stick around there. I'm going to send you straight through. You're going to stick around here. I'm going to send you over this way. I want you to stick around here. I want to send you over here, and you stick around there. No more bouncing. You go exactly where I tell you. That's what a lens does. All right. Now, why is that important? Well, anything that tries to capture a clear image of something needs a lens. I'll put this down for a second. What I'm going to show you next is this marvelous device. I'm very proud of this one as well. It's quite a beautiful one. I picked this one specifically, well, for two reasons actually. First of all, because it's really a beautiful one. Isn't it gorgeous looking? This is an Anscoflex designed by the famous designer Raymond Loewy. Now, Parker, just for you, I know you love cars so much, and you're always asking me about cars. This camera was designed by the same industrial designer as the Studebaker Avanti. Isn't it beautiful? Look up the Studebaker Avanti. You can see similarities in the two designs. Well, anyway, getting back to light. Watch this camera open up. It's really beautiful, by the way. See the clamshell up top? Isn't that so neat? And up we go, and that's open now. See, this actually has two lenses. The lens on the bottom here is the light gathering lens that makes the picture that will come inside the camera shortly. This lens on top here is actually the viewfinder lens, which is quite fascinating. Now, cameraman, camera lady, get over here if you can, please. I want you to look down into that camera from the top. Now, can you see? Oh, there it is right there. Now, okay, careful now. You have to line it up. There, you see that? See that image? Now look, as I move the camera around, you can see what's happening. The light from this backyard is going into that lens on the front of the camera, right? Have to hold it straight. It's going into the lens on the front of that camera, in through this way. It is being organized carefully so that all the little bounces are taken out of it, and the light is focused directly on a prism. It's like a mirror, actually. The prism bounces the light straight up, and it bounces it on this second lens, which is a magnifying lens, which I can look at, which means I can look through the top of this camera once again, and I can, let me see if I can see my doggy. Oh, there's my doggy right there. Do you see her? Okay, there's little doggy do, right? And I can take a picture of my doggy if I wind the lens and I click it. Now, it's hard to see, actually. I can look through this little hole at the back, actually. Now, if I do wind the lens and click it, you can see a little flash of light. That light would have gone back to the film, which sits right back here at the back of the lens. Now, in the old days, of course, you needed quite a large lens, and you needed quite a large area for taking a picture because the film wasn't all that sensitive. These days, a lot of that has changed. The lens in the back of my camera that's filming me right now is eensy beensy, just a teeny little thing. Okay. But right now you're thinking, okay, so I sort of get it. Something's happening with the lens and the light, and there's something crazy happening inside this camera. It's like a magic box. The light goes in the front, and all of a sudden it's organized, and all of a sudden a picture flies out. Well, the problem with a device like this is it looks like there's something magic going on inside, and since it's all closed up, you can't really see what's going on inside. So you say, well, since I can't see what's going on inside, I can't understand it. So what I'm going to do right now is go to the second part of the video. I'm going to show you without this crazy box, the lens at work. But we can't do it outside. It's too bright. I'm going to take you to a slightly darker spot. So now I'm going to ask you, cameraman, just to pause. Hey folks, we're back inside now, and I'm going to show you the next part of this interesting video. Now, remember, I've got my clipboard in my hand just with a piece of white paper on it, and I've got this lens which I showed you outside. I have my little Sharpie too. Now, I want you to take your eyes up this way, and I want you to see the light source inside this room. Now, camera person, if you could focus on that, please. Now, I want them to see that there's a hole in the bottom, and then the bulb is up inside of there. And I want them to see that the shade is rather interesting. It's got these lines on it here and the little crissy-crossy, ziggy-zaggy sort of things inside the glass. All right? So take a picture of that with your mind, viewers, and I want you to remember what that looks like. Okay, so now, camera person, I want you to come on over, shoot over my shoulder right here. Now, what's happening right now, folks, is, of course, that the light up top here is illuminating the room, and it's also illuminating my clipboard. But just like outside, the light's going all over the place. So the light is coming this way, hitting here. It's coming crisscross. It's hitting here. It's hitting here. It's hitting all over. You can't see anything specific. It's just bright. But what I want to do now is I want to take the lens and I want to organize that light. So I'm going to hold the lens between the light and the white piece of paper, and you'll be quite surprised what you see. Okay, here we go. Camera person, can you focus on that? Now I've got to focus on this too. Do you see it, folks? Do you see it? Do you see the shade right there? As I go back and forth, you can see how amazingly I can focus on it. I can even come this way. Oh, there's the bulb. Watch, I'll focus on the bulb. There's the bulb right there. Do you see it? Now, this is what's happening inside the camera, but you think there's something magical going on. But actually, no. It's just light traveling through the air. Isn't that fabulous? Unbelievable. Now, all you have to do, of course, if you want to make a camera, is to have that lens and a box inside, and you have a light-sensitive piece of material on the back. So if you do that, and then you focus the picture on that light-sensitive material, well, click, there's your picture. And of course, in these days, if you want to make it digital, that's what you need. You need a grid, crisscross, number each one of these. That's number 1, that's number 2, that's number 3, that's number 4, that's number 5, all the way down to however many pixels you have. Those are little pixels, little tiny squares. And you say to each square, okay, what do you see each square? And each square, of course, is attached to a wire, and each square reports back to the main microprocessor and says, well, I see red, I see blue, I see white, I see dark, I see nothing, I see curly Q, right? And then all of a sudden, that is your digital image. So there you go, folks. A little bit of light for you. Light in chaos and light organized by a lens. Hope you enjoyed it.